All right, Ryan. I thought you always give me a countdown. I thought she was going to say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where the love go? That's what it is. Hey, Phil and Ryan, listen up, man. Ryan, I tell you what, we just got back from the actually the Seattle Storm and the Washington Mystics game. Ryan, go Mystics as they defeat the Seattle Storm in the second game of a 2-game set. Usually we don't see WNBA action in series, but this was a back-to-back home games for Washington. Dropped the first one, Ryan, and then they won the second one. This is what today, man, I told you how blessed we were. This is what I like to call the UConn Huskies reunion. It was just a reunion party. Even we saw ESPN's Holly Rose. Shout out to her, Ryan. I know that was great to see her after the game. She had nothing but great things to say about UConn when she saw your shirt, right? She goes, "Oh, another UConn fan."
Yeah.
So, man, so we just wanted to, obviously, you're still wearing your shirt. So I know you want to let everybody know that you was representing the UConn Huskies right in the district.
Yeah, I was. I had my shirt on the whole time, and we saw a couple other UConn Husky fans down there with their shirts and hats on.
Yeah, shout
So
out to
they were,
them too.
yeah,
Yep.
they were being represented down there in Washington today, but very good game, very, very entertaining game. We had very good seats, very fortunate to have those. Got to see Sue Bird, possibly her last time in Washington, which was the main reason why we wanted to go, was to see her one last time in person. We talked about her, I think, on the last episode, just how much of an impact that she's had for the WNBA. But yeah,
Yeah.
got to meet Holly Rowe down there. Wasn't expecting to see her, but that was really fun. Got to talk with her for a couple minutes and take a picture. But and saw Vina Westbrook warming up too down there on the court. Didn't get any playing time, didn't enter the game, but saw her down there warming up. Looks a little different than she did down at UConn, but I noticed her right away as soon as I saw her on the court. But very fun game, very entertaining, and can't wait to go down next year as well and possibly see my wings against your Mystics.
Yeah, and I relayed this message to you when we went out to dinner after the game. I'm like, what'll get some UConn Huskies fans fired up, Ryan, if we mention, man, just think if they still had Brianna Stewie in this program set with Paige Beckers. I mean, this team would be it's already deadly enough, but this team would have definitely, I have no doubt, they would have won that championship game back in April.
Yeah, Brianna Stewart is such a talented player, and we were talking about a little bit after the game about when Sue Bird retires after this season. It's going to be interesting to see how well Brianna Stewart plays after Sue Bird leaves, because she'll, I would assume, take the kind of captain role of the team and kind of be in charge of the team after Sue Bird leaves. But Brianna Stewie led the team in scoring for Seattle today. Very, very talented player. When she gets open, it's very rare that she misses. Made some pretty good shots in that game today. So it was really fun to see and watch her play.
And I think it's safe to say that it's just that kind of time, talking about Sue Bird. Nothing but great things to say about her. Again, once in a lifetime player. Hey, but at the end of the day, Ryan, you have to admit age catches up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the deal breaker. And whether you want to admit it or not, facts are facts. And she went stone cold in back-to-back games, as what I said, in my opinion, stone cold back-to-back games. Not the Sue Bird that we were used to seeing back in the early days, back in them early 2000s and 2010, 2011, 2012, back when I graduated. You were in elementary, middle school,
Yeah.
right? But again, I think it's just that time to say farewell. I think she played it smart. Again, not saying anything bad about her, but again, it's not the Sue Bird that we are so used to seeing. You can tell. You can tell.
Yeah, the game yesterday she scored 4 points. Then the game today she scored 12. But yeah, you can tell her pace is a little off at sometimes. And like you said, it just comes with age. And kind of every athlete has to realize that at some point in their career, no matter how great of a player and legacy that they're going to leave behind, they have to realize when it's time to hang it up And I think Sue Bird definitely made the right decision. She's had a very, very great WNBA career. And, after she retires after this season, she'll leave quite a legacy behind. But I think she made the right call and to retire after this season.
And before I know we will get to the topic of this evening, actually, we're recording, Ryan, the last day of July. So again, one more farewell to you as far as July goes. I can't believe that we're wrapping up July and heading into August. So that much closer, Ryan. With that said, I know it gave you chills. It gave me chills. One more note before we get into today's topic of Aaliyah Edwards. For the UConn Huskies, Bill Russell, Ryan, 11-time NBA champion in this great game of basketball, dies at 88.
Yeah, and they had a moment of silence down there at the arena today. I was kind of expecting that because we saw it. We actually saw it driving down to the arena where he passed away. I don't think really anybody was expecting to hear or see that news today, but very, very big loss in the sports, not just the NBA world, but the sports world. The announcer said it down there at the Mystics Arena a little bit today, just how much that Bill Russell meant to the game of basketball as a whole. And just the attention he brought to the game, 11 rings that he amassed in his career, but just everything that he did for the game. And when he played for Boston, he's definitely one of the greats to ever play in the NBA.
All right, Aaliyah Edwards, talk about how great she is for the UConn Huskies, Ryan. She's a junior heading into this year. As a sophomore, as a freshman, again, she appeared in all 36 games as a sophomore. So we talk about, how much can you play? How much can you contribute to the team? I think the hot topic all starts right there. How much playing time can you get out of one player? You're not just any head coach, I would imagine. You're not bringing a player up out of high school, Ryan. You're going, okay, they're going to play only a couple minutes a game, and that's that. They can. How much can they contribute to your team? Obviously, like you always tell me, obviously without the injuries. How can you stay healthy a full season? Man, Aaliyah Edwards, Ryan, it's looking like that again. You plug her in the starting lineup when November rolls around. This is another notable player that we're getting deeper into this roster, heading up to the number one player in this series. And again, Aaliyah Edwards, she has the potential. She has, obviously, I think a lot is in her hands when it comes to handling this ball team and whether or not they can appear in another championship game and win it all.
Yeah, she definitely played a big role in the last season. Like you mentioned, starting in every single game, and I would expect her to do the same this year.
26 starts. 26 starts. She appeared in all 36 games.
Okay, yeah. But I would expect this year for her to maybe even start in every single game this season. But it is a possibility that we'll see her coming off the bench perhaps. But I just think her and Dorka is going to be a 1-2 combo that not a lot of teams are going to want to see down in the paint. But Aaliyah, I think she struggled a little bit at the beginning of last season, but she did pick it up at the end of the season. I think that kind of speaks to the whole entire team. But Aaliyah, definitely a very, very talented player. We saw her play on the Canadian team throughout this off season for a couple of weeks. She played very, very well, very entertaining to watch her play during the off season. I think she's having a great summer workouts. I think Gino is very I think he likes what he sees out of her. So I think it's going to be very, very exciting to watch Aaliyah kind of grow. I think she has a lot of room to grow as well. I think she kind of struggled a little bit with her mid-range game and kind of just finishing at the basket as a whole last season. So I think if she can improve on her shot just a little bit, she's a great rebounder, getting those offensive and defensive rebounds, and also a great post defender. But if she works on that post defense a little bit more and finishing around the basket, I think she can provide a lot of great minutes and a lot of great scoring games for the UConn Huskies.
Yeah, again, when you talk about Gino, the way he runs this system, you called me up one day. You're like, Phil, man, I've never seen a system so complicated in my life, right? And I ask you, I'm like, Ryan, well, what do you mean by that? It's again the way the defense. You had to play great defense. The passing, you always talk about the passing ability. You know how great the UConn Huskies are able to pass the ball around. All right. They almost make it look like cake compared to these other college teams. I think that's something that's pressed on and on and on in these practices. And again, I think that I would compare Aaliyah Edwards, almost say what you said about, help me out here. Who was the pickup in the transfer portal?
Lou Lopez.
Lou Lopez. You said she's I asked, I said, Ryan, what do you think Lou Lopez, how good is she? What can she do? What is her strength? What is her weaknesses? Like, Phil, she's an all-around great great player. And with that said, I would absolutely say the same, Ryan, about Aaliyah Edwards. Again, you get a lot of playing time out of her. She plays great defense, great offense, and she can score. She can score, no doubt. So again, the forward, 6'3", she's got the height, right? I mean, hey, we actually saw again. What's the it's a player for Washington now? She got drafted. Anyhow, Ryan, she got drafted this year, last year, and she appeared in today's game. One of the newer players. I think she's from across country, and man, I tell you what, she only stands about, I don't know, 5. I'd say 5'7", 5'8", maybe even shorter than that.
Yeah.
And both you and I thought, oh man, I mean, Mike Debo, I can't believe. I mean, he actually gave her a lot of playing time today. Man, she played amazing. So again, speed kills. It's not all about height, but in this case, Aaliyah Edwards, I think she's just an all-around great player, and I can't wait to see what she can contribute this season.
Yeah, and that player is Rui Machida. Yeah. So and she wasn't much over 5 feet tall, and I saw her. We watched her warm up, and I didn't really expect her to get that many minutes or have that great of an impact in the game, but she did score quite a bit and was passing in the offense, so she played really good as well. I wasn't expecting that out of her, but whenever she came in or scored a basket or made a good play, the crowd was cheering her on. So I think she's definitely a fan favorite down there. But yeah, I mean, for some players, short or tall, some players just adjust their body to the way, to their ceiling, the way they can play. And for Aaliyah Edwards, she obviously has the gift of being very, very tall, and she uses that to her advantage down there in the paint. Got a lot of blocks last season, created a lot of chaos and a lot of turnovers for opponents down there in the paint. But I think she's going to have a better season than she did last year. I think this is really her time to have that breakout season. She's played very well as a freshman and a sophomore for last season, but I think in her junior year or third year here, I think this season is really her time. When she's standing out there with Dorka Juhas this season, I think it's her time to have a breakout year.
Don't you just love how, in this case, Aaliyah Edwards has the purple braids, the yellow braids?
Yeah.
Don't you just love how once you get so used to seeing one player, once you're introduced to them the very first time, whether it's on the court, in person, you just don't expect them to ever change their style, their look. To me, it's kind of weird because, the pictures on ESPN when they go up, your little profile picture, it tells your stats, and you're so used to seeing it's again, it's crazy. It's just, again, she's, I don't know, Ryan, I can't explain it. She's like one of the fashionable players of the NCAA, and I love it. I love it how she comes out in style with the yellow and the purple braids. I know we talked about that so many times, how we love her style, and she's, again, like you said, she can really carry this team far. I think that again, a lot of teams, especially in conference, should prepare for Aaliyah Edwards.
Yeah, and I think in terms of, because we talked about it last episode with Nika Mule, how much defensive intensity that she brings to the club. I think that's the same exact thing with Aaliyah Edwards as well. I think if UConn's struggling on offense, Aaliyah can be another player for UConn that comes in and gets a couple blocks and creates turnovers and really gets the offense going, maybe down there in the paint or getting offensive rebounds. So there's so many ways that Aaliyah can contribute to the team and help the team win. But yeah, her braids, I mean, if you're watching from far away, you can definitely tell if it's Aaliyah Edwards, her gold and purple braids
She
swinging around
stands
on the
out.
court. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely stands out. That's for
He
sure.
stands out. Well, I love the purple braids because again,
Yeah.
that symbolizes the Baltimore Ravens. So we had that. I'm not too sure if she's trying to symbolize with her hair color, the yellow and the purple. But I do definitely, for a fact, I love the purple, and I hope she keeps that for the 22 and 23 season because hey, we could always use some Ravens love. I know you don't want to talk about that.
No. Yeah,
No.
well, I'm sure she's gonna carry that out for most of her career and probably even if she gets drafted into the WNBA.
All right. And again, we will get into comments, Ryan's favorite part of the show. And we all know that you cannot wait for this. Ryan, how about Iva? Let's start off with Iva. It was her idea, and we're almost done this series. Finally, one of my favorite Huskies. Actually, these are the comments going back to UConn Huskies junior Nika Mule. Finally, one of my favorite Huskies. Nika's energy is infectious. I do think what Gino said about her is true. Playing 4 or 40 minutes, she impacts the game. She is the ultimate team player. Her energy and toughness is contagious. She is a very adaptable player, so her and Lou could be good, but I think Nika and Paige is explosive combination. Look back at their freshman year and how good they were together. If they were healthy, who knows what could have happened. So starting 5, here we go, Ryan. Oh, man. Ryan's favorite topic leading up to the opening game. So starting 5, Iva goes Mule, Beckers, Fudd, Edwards, Uhas.
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good starting 5, and I believe that's the one that I said way back. It's probably been a month or two now, but yeah, that episode is going to be very interesting when we do that. Seems like we always find a way to bring up that starting 5 on every episode. But yeah, for Nika Mule and Paige Beckers, I was just about to say that we don't really know what that could have been last year because Nika kind of filled in for Paige Beckers when she went out. When she was out for 18 or so games with that injury last season, Nika Mule kind of filled the role that Paige Beckers played and brung so much energy and just energy and everything to the team while Paige Beckers was away. But Nika's such a great player. Is going to have a very, very high impact on defense this season. And I think Aaliyah Edwards has the potential to do the exact same thing.
How about Grobel? How about we haven't heard from Grobel in a while, and I know that we want to shout out to him, Ryan, a regular on this podcast. Hi guys, been on an extended European vacation, so haven't been watching or commenting. UConn has been somewhat busy on the recruiting front. They have offered several future prospects, offered a class of 2024 Mari DeBerry 5'10" guard from Tennessee, offered a class 25 Zakia Johnson, a guard from Kentucky, it looks like, offered a class of 25 Kellis Fisher from Maryland. Okay, Ryan, right in our backyard. And they also have been at several tourneys for 24 prospects. Sarah Strong, 6'2" forward from North Carolina. Harper Peterson from California. Britt Prince from Nebraska, ranked number 11. So that's what Grobel is talking about more of the future, Ryan. I know that we always love to talk about the future here on this podcast, no doubt. And I'm sure a head coach looks forward to that conversation too. But hey, how about Grobel? European vacation.
Yeah, well, I hope you had a good vacation, and that doesn't come as a surprise to me that Gino and the coaching staff always working on the future of the UConn Huskies, recruiting players, looking at new prospects that are coming in the future, 1, 2, even 3 years down the road, offering them scholarships and just keeping track of all the potential future UConn Huskies that could come within the next 2 to 3 years. So I'm sure Gino and that coaching staff is always watching highlights, showing up to tournaments and all that kind of good stuff, and watching the future, the potential future of the UConn Huskies.
How about Tom Kibbe? As usual, you hit the mark. Nika is fiery, not always in control, but she sure impacts the team whenever she is in there. I think we all would like her have a bit. We all would like to have. We all would like her to have a bit of an impact offensively, including Gino. I agree that she plays in every game as long as she stays healthy.
Yeah, completely agree. And hopefully for Nika, because we know she's going to bring it on defense every single game, but if she can provide some offense for the UConn Huskies, it just make them even a more great team than what they already are. If Nika can contribute even a little bit more on that offensive side of things, it'll make just even more of the opponent give the opponent more of a tough time to beat the UConn Huskies.
Jason D'Amico, if Nika develops a mid-range three-point game, she could contend for Player of the Year. She has all the other skills necessary to be great. She just needs to stop shooting from the hip. Literally. Great show, fellas. Peace.
Yeah, I agree, and hopefully she's working on that a little bit in the all season because no matter how of a great player you are, there's always room to improve something about your game. So for Nika, I totally agree with her shot. If she can work on that during the all season, and if she comes out in the regular season, starts throwing up bombs and hitting them from 3-point range, that would definitely start making the opposition think of her differently and guard her more tightly every single game. But if she can add that to her range of things that she can do on the basketball court, I agree that that would probably put her up there for player of the year, assuming that she's able to stay healthy and play in every single game.
How about time for one more? Do we have time for one more, or is it? Because you say we're on a time limit now. So how about time for one more comment?
Yeah, I think we're good. Let's do one more.
One more, David Serrano. Thanks again for coming through, David. It's always good to hear from him. My favorite Husky in the team. Her stat sheet looks like she is a below average player. That being said, she is a pest to the opposing team and disrupts the other team's plays. Big East Defensive Player of the Year. She only took about 3.5 shot attempts per game with 43% field goal percentage clip. This coming season, Gino wants her to become more of an offensive threat because opponents don't really guard her. Once she ups her field goal attempts to maybe 10 per game, that's 8 or 10 with a couple of threes instead of just 3.8 points per game. Nika, 5'10", Paige, AZ, Aaliyah, Dorka starts. Okay, he's giving the starting lineup again, Ryan. And then a combo of Paige, Lou, Caroline, Aaliyah, Dorka. That's a big and veteran lineup, sure to give teams a matchup headache. What do you guys think of my second lineup? Okay. Once again, great show, guys. Keep it up. Well, okay. Well, Ryan, let me know if you need help because I will read that second lineup to you again since he specifically asked you to evaluate that.
Yeah. Remind me of his second lineup.
Paige, Lou, Caroline, Aaliyah, and Dorka.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely not a bad starting lineup. I don't think that wouldn't be my prediction, but it could definitely work for UConn for a couple of games. And like I've been saying, if something Gino doesn't see that he likes, particularly in one game, the next game he could come out and choose a different starting lineup and possibly even that one. I think Lou would go great and come out strong in the starting lineup, and I would expect her to be in the starting lineup for a couple of games and then come off the bench for a couple of games. And as far as Caroline as well, I think she can go in and out for Nika or AZ Fudd. So like I said, there's so many combinations that Gino can use for the starting lineup.
Yeah, that's right. And well, we already know, so it seems like it's a lock of this player that we are discussing tonight, Aaliyah Edwards, a lock for that starting lineup, Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure there's there's not much else to say other than a good night, Ryan. And who's next on that list, by the way?
I have to check it again, but I believe it is Caroline Ducharme. I want to say, let me pull it up real quick.
Okay, because we did not have that episode yet on AZ Fudd. That should be a fun one.
Yeah, Caroline Ducharme is next on the list.
Caroline Ducharme. Okay. Well, I tell you what, with that said, we will leave it right there, Ryan. And again, it may get interesting because, hey, what if Phil predicts AZ Fudd in that starting five? I don't know. Some people, I don't know. Some people are like that. I might take a lot of heat again, Ryan.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Like I said, that starting lineup prediction episode is going to be very interesting.
All right. And that does it, Ryan. I'll tell you what, we will be back later this week. Again, not only does UConn basketball talk stay heated on this podcast, but again, hey, what about the WNBA playoffs right around the corner? Ryan, a lot of teams, all 8 teams. If the season ended today, it's stacked. The standings are stacked, and I strongly believe one of the 6, 7, or 8 seeds has what it takes to upset one of them top teams. Because guess what? Like you told me, you never know, Phil.
Yeah, as long as you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. So we'll definitely have to have a couple episodes once the playoffs start for the WNBA because they're going to be very, very exciting to watch.
Chicago Sky, Las Vegas Aces. All right, that's enough, Ryan. I'll go and let you go. I know it's way past your bedtime. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.